Hello and welcome to this brief video on applying phonics knowledge for word-level reading and spelling. In this video, we'll address basic information on using phonics knowledge in order to read and spell words and where this can be found in the Ontario curriculum. We'll also touch on best practices for teaching and assessing phonics for reading and spelling. Let's begin with the basics of phonics for reading and spelling. As students are taught grapheme-phoneme correspondences, they are increasingly able to use this knowledge to read and spell words. Students apply their knowledge of the relationship between letters and sounds in order to sound out words when reading a variety of texts and spell words when writing. To understand a text, students must read it fluently with effortless word recognition. In the past, many believed that words were memorized as whole visual units. We now know that words are stored for permanent retrieval through the rapid analysis of the sequence of phonemes, graphemes, and meaning. Harnessing phonics and phonemic awareness in decoding and spelling is crucial not only for reading and spelling words, but also for skilled reading comprehension and written composition. Both of these tasks are cognitively demanding. The more automatic the subskills are, the more that cognitive resources can be directed elsewhere. Now we'll focus on where phonics for reading and spelling is found in the language curriculum. Phonics for reading and spelling can be found in Strand B Foundations of Language. In grade 1, students use phonics knowledge and phonemic blending to read words, and phonemic segmentation to spell phonetically regular words in isolation and in texts. In grades 2 and 3, students continue to use phonics knowledge and phonemic blending to read words and use set for variability to correct approximations. They continue to use phonemic segmentation to spell more complex words, both in isolation and various text contexts. The Language Foundations Continuum elaborates on the specific expectations. In kindergarten grade 1, students apply grapheme-phoneme correspondences to word reading by identifying the graphemes of the word, saying the corresponding phonemes, and then blend them together. When spelling a word, students identify the phonemes they hear in the word and represent each phoneme with a grapheme. In grade 1, students begin to read multisyllabic words by identifying the vowels in the word, dividing the word into its syllables, blending each syllable, and then the entire word. The skills in grade 2 and 3 support the reading and spelling of increasingly complex multisyllabic words with increasing automaticity. In grades 2 and 3, the concept of set for variability is introduced. Students adjust for close approximations when reading words, for example, by flexing vowel sounds, adjusting syllable stress and schwa, which is the unstressed vowel sound. For example, if a student were to decode the word child as chilled, they would quickly recognize that it wasn't a word that they knew, flex the I sound, and arrive at child. How do we best teach students to apply phonics skills they've learned in order to read and spell words? Instruction in using phonics knowledge in order to read and spell words should be systematic and explicit. Since phonics is more effective when taught systematically, the use of a scope and sequence to inform words students read and spell will help to ensure that we move from the more simple to the more complex. For example, we would have our students decode and spell words following CVC patterns with continuous sounds, such as mat, before CCVCC words, such as clasp. When students use phonics for reading and spelling, they are applying their developing knowledge of the relationship between letters and sounds to reading and spelling. In order to provide opportunities to practice this application of knowledge, instruction should include the use of decodable text and carefully chosen words that contain the target sound or sounds. We want to ensure that we link our text choice and spelling words to the scope and sequence as a principle of our explicit instruction. It is important to note that decoding is not only for the primary grades. We want to ensure that we provide students with explicit instruction and practice in decoding multisyllabic words, particularly in subject-specific texts as students move through the grades. Growing success reminds us that the primary purpose of assessment is to improve student learning. How can we assess using phonics knowledge for reading and spelling in order to guide our instruction? Assessment of phonics and decoding are powerful ways for educators to support improved student outcomes. A variety of sources of insight into students' application of phonics knowledge for reading and spelling, including early reading screening, diagnostic assessments, and progress monitoring, can be used as assessment for learning to drive evidence-based, explicit, and systematic instruction. Assessing students' decoding can be done through early reading screening. Many evidence-based screening tools include phonics subtests for younger students, including words read correctly scores on nonsense word fluency measures. For older, struggling readers, diagnostic assessments can be used to identify which specific grapheme-phoneme correspondences should be taught and reinforced. For students who are at risk, progress monitoring with decoding measures, such as nonsense word fluency, is a powerful way to ensure that instruction and intervention are meeting the needs of students. In writing, educators may consider using a spelling inventory as assessment for learning. These can often be administered to the whole class using a list of words. The scoring sheet allows for a close examination of a student's understanding of sounds, spelling patterns, and morphology. To sum up, the ability to apply knowledge and understanding of phonics supports fluent reading, reading comprehension, and effective and accurate spelling. It is the automaticity and integration of phonemic awareness and phonics, along with orthographic and morphologic knowledge, that allow us to read and spell. Efficient decoding supports fluent reading and reading comprehension. Efficient spelling allows students to focus their attention on their ideas as they write. These skills are learned through explicit instruction involving phonemic awareness and applying knowledge of the grapheme-phoneme correspondences and not memorization. Thanks for listening and for continuing to build your understanding in order to meet the needs of your students.